Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Gallery with Laura Ali. I am your host, Laura Ali. I'm so happy to be back here, and we are just going to finish up Charlie Adelson. We have just the last part. It's about an hour left of his cross-examination with Georgia Cappelman, my girl. So let's get right into it. No need to delay.
All right, and who are you alleged to have done this murder with?
I'm alleged to have done this murder with my sister, my mom, and my dad.
Would it refresh your recollection to review a copy of the indictment in this case?
I'm a slow reader, but I can read it if you want.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Right.
And this is the official charging document in your case, Dr. Adelson. What does it say in reference to who you are alleged to have committed the murder with?
This is, what day is this? 2022. Oh, they think I did a murder with Katie.
Katherine Magbanua?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Give me a minute, I'll read. They got Luis Rivera in here. They got Sigfredo Garcia.
As being alleged to have committed the murder with you?
Did I read it too quick?
Take your time. Should just be at the very top of each charge. On or about July 18th, 2014, did unlawfully.
Okay. Yeah, Katie. Catherine.
Okay. Are you mad that Wendi hasn't been charged and you have?
No, I'm mad that I got charged for a crime that I didn't commit.
Do you have any innate anger with Wendi over that fact?
I will dispute that. I will dispute that he is not upset that Wendi is being charged and he is being charged and now Donna's being charged. I can guarantee that at this point, with Donna being Donna was locked up November of 2023 initially. Um, so she's been in prison or jail now for at least a year. And I can almost guarantee that they both resent Wendi now. There's no way that they wouldn't because they're just those types of people to blame someone else. And although Wendi was her star child, it's like, why they are 100% upset with Wendi for going to the scene of the crime. They're 100% upset with Wendi for saying what she did to the ex-boyfriend. I'm blanking on his name right now. That's okay. Um, Jeffrey Lacoste. They are upset that she made that joke, that she kept repeating that joke. Oh, my brother said he was gonna hire a hitman, but the TV was cheaper. They 100% resent Wendi right now. I know they do because I mean, any reasonable person would say, why did I do this for this person? And they're not even talking to me. Like when Charlie was in jail, he Wendi wasn't talking to him or wasn't reaching out. Granted, they are co-conspirators, so what could they really reach out? But still, you're my sister. Just like call and just say, hey, what's up? Like, how's it going? Like, we don't have to talk about the crime, but how you doing? You know? So I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
No, not at all.
Are you pissed that she told all that stuff to Jeff Lacoste?
I don't think she said that to Jeff, but I wasn't there.
How did Lacoste know about the celebration dinner?
That we went out to dinner, she got sick, so she may have told someone that she threw up.
And then what, he just added the part about you referring to it as a celebration?
I never referred to it as a celebration dinner. I picked my sister up. I said, where do you want to go to eat? She said she wanted pizza or sushi. I said, I know a great sushi place. We went there. We didn't have reservations. We ended up sitting at the bar for an hour waiting for our table. She had 2 drinks and got sick.
She vomited on the dinner table. Or at the dinner table.
Yeah, she got her to the bathroom. But yeah, she doesn't drink alcohol. So those 2 drinks, and I think on an empty stomach, I think she got really sick. But there was no celebration dinner. It was the first time that she actually really left the house since she got back from Tallahassee. She was devastated.
Did you say something to her about the murder of Dan Markel right before she vomited?
Absolutely not.
Do you remember what you said right before she vomited?
She was Probably, I think she said, "I don't feel well," and I say, "Oh no," and then she threw up.
Before that,
No, I think I said, "Oh no," and then she threw up.
before she announced that she was going to be ill,
Right.
do you remember what the conversation was?
Just well, how's the food? How's your? I mean, we were probably about halfway through dinner. If you look at the timetable, we weren't there long.
Why did you brag to Jeffrey Lacoste about your connection to the Cuban criminal element?
Never said that to Jeff Lacoste.
So he's making that up?
If he said it, I never said it.
Well, you were in here when he said it, weren't you?
I heard him say it, yeah, but I never said that to him.
On one of these calls, and it's in the context of talking about Dave and Wendy's relationship with Dave, you tell your mom that you've already gone above and beyond for Wendy. Was that a reference to having her ex murdered?
No, it's me getting tired of this Dave stuff. I mean, Dave's a great guy. I mean, everyone who meets him likes him. He's not only super successful, but he's very low key, like t-shirts and jeans kind of guy. And he loved my sister's kids. I mean, if you listen to The Wire, the point I was making is not how successful he is. The point I was making is that my nephews farted on him, and he thought it was funny and didn't bother him. And he also has 3 young kids, the same ages as my sister's 2 young kids. They actually met in line when my sister was registering the kids for school, and it was they've been friends for years. So I thought it was a great opportunity for my sister to have a great guy in her life.
Okay, but what does that have to do with you going above and beyond for her? Like, I hear everything you're saying, Charlie. Fine and fair. But her dating Dave, what does that have to do with you going above and beyond for her? I would say murder is above and beyond. Like if my sibling hired a hit for me, you went above and beyond. I kind of owe you for forever. Like I remember this one job, and just random story, this one job interview that I went on. I needed a little assistance passing part of the qualifications to get the job, if you know what I'm talking about, maybe, a little drug test or something. And my sister provided what she provided. And that is above and beyond. That is above and beyond. So forever for me having that job, I was like, without you, I wouldn't have this job. So thank you so much. Like, so what did you do? What did you do that went above and beyond? I mean, I would say murder. Murder could be it.
And I was getting sick and tired of Dave calls. And The Wire started in April. My sister's birthday's in April. Dave's birthday's in April. So you got a ton of Dave chatter on this case. But believe me, I'd go crazy if I was talking about Dave like this all year long.
So that's a no. You did not reference having her ex murdered
Absolutely not.
when you said
No.
you've already gone above and beyond.
No,
for
that was
Wendy.
me getting sick of dealing with the Dave stuff. As great of a guy as he is, I was still getting sick of it.
When the $1 million offer was conceived, do you recall whose idea that was?
My parents.
Why was the relocation worth $1 million?
Well, it was actually I was going to pay a third, so I only looked at it as that way. Why was it worth it?
That's the question.
Because it was going to help my sister out, and it was going to give her a good opportunity for a good job down here, and she was going to be around family, and family's important, so that's why.
Isn't it true that financially you came out ahead on this deal as opposed to if you had coughed up the third of the $1 million?
What's so ironic about what he says is that family is important. Yes, family is important. And the family that your nephews had, being their father, that you completely removed from their life, it's like, it's amazing. It's like, I guess when he says family's important, he's saying my family's important. Nobody else's family matters. But it's like, I just can't understand why you would murder your nephew's father, the father of, like, their, why would you do that? Like, just from a traumatizing standpoint, like anyone that I've ever known growing up, it's like if they lost a parent at a very young age, it's, it kind of weighed on them in a sense, like, okay, they didn't, not everyone had a two-parent household, but maybe at least you knew you would go to your other parents' house, and spend time with them. So it's like to have that just ripped out of their life by choice by your grandmother and your uncle and your mother is like some sick stuff. But yet you say family's important. The Adelsons.
$1 offer.
How in the world did I come up ahead? This is the craziest thing.
Financially, you paid $138,000, then you paid $2,000 a month plus the $1,000 payroll amount. You're still about over $100,000 ahead financially than if you had coughed up the $333K.
No, I would have been better off paying. And first of all, I never paid for MERS. This is a crazy question, but paying $3,000 a month for life is not anything anybody wants to do.
I didn't say anything about paying for a murder. I said you paid $138,000, which you did.
I got extorted for $330,000.
And then you paid, but you didn't pay the $330,000.
Right, because I didn't have it. I had to clear it out my safe, and that was what was in my safe that night.
All right. Can we agree that Wendi was stressed out about the issues surrounding her divorce?
I think the divorce caused stress in her life, yes.
And you were hearing about it from your mother, weren't you?
Yeah, I would hear.
Wendy's totally stressed out. Yesterday was a rough one, that sort of thing.
Yes, like I said it before, is that my sister would tell my mom a story. I'd be sitting in the car driving. My mom would be talking to me and telling me the latest story of the day. And that's how I found out a lot.
And then on 2/19 of 14, Donna texts you again to tread lightly with Wendi and refers to Dan Markel as an asshole and a fucker, right?
Sorry. You made me laugh. Sorry.
That's what I'm here for. Is that what happened, that text?
Did my mom use a foul word?
Oh, Georgia. I would watch her prosecute anybody, okay? The fact that she the fact that she does it with like the tone of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say the curse that Donna said, and he laughs. And he laughs on the stand. Sir, if there's any time to not laugh about your mom calling the victim a a derogatory name, it's now. Now is the time. Now is the time to hold that laughter to yourself. But he was laughing when he was sitting over at the defense table, and it's almost like that was his cue to laugh in the sense like, oh yeah, I just think it's funny that she called him that, and it's like he's trying to keep that same energy. But sir, don't just say, you know what, I laughed because I had a funny memory of it. It was inappropriate. I apologize for laughing because Dan is dead, and it's nothing to laugh about. That's a response you want to give to try to make it seem like you're somewhat sympathetic to this man losing his life. But right now you're sitting up here just like, yeah, she did call him that. That's so funny. Good one, mom. It's like you guys are sick.
Describe him?
Yes, sir. Asshole and fucker, to be specific.
Sorry. She used the curse word correct.
Is that pretty strong language for your mom, or is that how she speaks?
I mean, it is pretty strong language, but I think I've been called a lot worse. But if my mom used the curse word, she used the curse word. You just use curse words too. So
Was Wendi less stressed? Was Wendi less stressed out once all this litigation was over?
No, she was a million times more stressed out.
Was she better off financially?
There may have been some, but not much. I don't think so.
Was she able to stop paying her $800 an hour divorce lawyers?
Yes.
Did she get $2.7 million in benefits for her children plus $4,800 a month for the boys' benefit?
No, as far as I know, that money was in trust and it's controlled by Dan Markel's sister. So none of that money. You keep saying it like the money went to her. The money's in trust for the kids, and that money never went to her.
Some of it went to her, and some of it was in trust for the kids, right?
I don't know the breakdown, but I know the 90-something% of what you're talking about is in trust, and it's in trust for the children. It's not for her benefit.
Right. It's for the benefit of the boys, but it has to come through her because they're children, right?
Well,
when she gets disbursements, right?
It has to go through the executor of the trust. And my sister's not the executor of the trust.
No, sir. I'm not saying she is. When the executor of the trust disperses money for the benefit of the boys, it gets dispersed to Wendi, right?
See, you know more than I know.
Did you have trouble sleeping after the murder?
After I was extorted, for sure.
Did Katie text you on 12/19/15? Sorry, we have problems sleeping and shit. We do have a lot of weight on our shoulders.
Did she text me that?
Did she text you that?
I mean, she may have, but it sounds about right.
Do you want to look at the text?
I can look at it, sure. Which one?
Glasses. You can look around for context if you want.
I also just want to say how much I love the preparedness behind the prosecution. And typically, prosecution is going to be very prepared, typically. Well, I would hope so. But I have seen various prosecutors that are kind of fumbling and, not as prepared. But Georgia has prosecuted this case 3 other times, 4 other times technically, because Catherine had a retrial. So this is her fifth time going down this rodeo. So she's like, let's go. You want to see the text? You want to see the. And it's like him trying to play dumb about why Catherine would text him, sorry, we have trouble sleeping. We have a lot of weight on our shoulders, or however she phrased it. What could you possibly say? And we're going to see what he says right now, but what could you possibly say to make that sound like it has nothing to do with the murder? It clearly does. And they should have had a rule of like no text messages, because obviously this is going to get pulled up, which it did.
I'm looking at page 2 of this exhibit, and it's got a little box around it.
Thanks.
And if that refreshes your recollection, the question is, did she send it?
Yeah.
I want to go over a little bit some of the payments or gifts that you gave to Katherine Magbanua. We've heard a lot about her being put on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, and she made this demand to you when you met her to give her the first extortion payment on the payment plan. Is that correct?
She didn't make a demand. When I gave her the $3,000 for her friend, she asked me if I could do her a favor and put her on payroll for $1,000 a month so that she could get insurance for her kids. She was going to cash the check, and the money was still going to her friend, so that money wasn't going to her. She was getting insurance for her
And
kids.
did you believe her that she would give the money from the paychecks to the friend?
I believe what she was saying to me, yeah.
Isn't it true that Katherine Magbanua actually asked you to place her on the payroll back in June, prior to this extortion effort?
I don't know if I put her on payroll. She asked me if I could put her as something when I was dating her, put her as something on the office so she could get insurance. But I never did.
And that was in June.
Yeah, I remember she'd asked me about it before, but I never did anything.
In June 24th of 2014, she says, baby, I'm going to need help on the employment info. I have to send to DCF for my kids' insurance. Also, if I have to end up moving later on, I need to show I'm working for you, or else I won't be able to get an apartment. To which you respond, no problem. Remember that?
Yeah, but I wasn't thinking she was asking about payroll. I think she was asking just to say that she worked there, so would sign a letter saying that she was employed. But that doesn't say anything about writing checks to her.
And that request was made in between the 2 trips that the killers made.
That
correct?
request, well, she asked me if I could do that for her while I was dating her, and I never even did it.
And did she ask if you could do that in between the 2 trips that the killers made?
I didn't know when they went up, but I found out later that they went up in June.
All right, so that email would have been sent, or I'm sorry, it's a text. That text would have been sent prior to what you're calling is the first layer of the extortion.
That text was sent to me while I was dating her, but I never.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
The text was sent in June.
Prior to the first layer of extortion?
before I was extorted. Yeah, before I broke up with her.
And you say several times on the wire that she was cleaning at the office. Was she really cleaning?
No, she never worked for us.
She was doing some type of cleanup for you, wasn't she?
No.
What's the purpose of keeping Katie happy? Was she going to sick the Latin Kings on you if you made her unhappy?
She was protecting me. I didn't know what would happen, and she was keeping my mind, like when the extortion never went up, and I thought that she wasn't part of it, and she was protecting me. Usually extortion goes up. It always gets ratcheted up from what I've heard.
What's the fear of not keeping her happy is what I'm trying to understand.
Well, I could get killed, or the people who were extorting me could come rob me. And I didn't get killed. I didn't get robbed. The extortion never went up. I thought she was really protecting me.
If that's the case, why not just, I mean, you're complying with everything they've asked you to do, right?
I'm doing everything that was asked to do, and yeah.
So why reach out and say, hey, can I get you a trip to Key West to go with that extortion money?
I never said, can I get you a trip to Key West?
You didn't say you were trying to get them the owner's cottage. Maybe it's not in Key West. Trying to get them the owner's cottage because it's the nicest, $380 a night, the postcard inn. Do you recall all those conversations?
Oh yeah, for sure. And she'd actually asked me weeks before the bump, because I had this connection at a place called the Moorings that I could get like a really great price at a really affordable price for how nice the place is. And I said I was going to make some calls and help her out and get it. And then I ended up giving her $300 for when she picked up that bag at my house. I put $300 in it and I got her a hotel room.
Is that a yes? You remember that conversation?
Yeah, I did.
And she didn't want the trip. In the text messages, she's saying, like, no thanks. And you're kind of forcing it down her throat. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, because actually, it's funny. At that time, in the wire, I was trying to see if Katie and him were together or they weren't together. So that's why I kept asking, how are things? Are you guys okay? Because if they were fighting, it was making me think more and more that the reason she was avoiding me was because she found out that he was the one who was doing the second extortion again. So I was trying to figure out if it was him and if she was lying to me.
And in this case, she says, I don't want to do anything. And you say, you know what? F that. You're going there. You're going to have a good time.
For sure. I was trying to do nice things for her.
And then did you pay for a trip or offer to pay for a trip to Santo Domingo for Katherine Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia to visit his parents?
I didn't know who she was going with, but I paid for it. You're talking about airline tickets?
Yes.
She called me up. She had an emergency. Something happened. She booked tickets for the wrong date. I had no idea who in the family she was going with. And she had no money. And I remember I was in Chicago. I was at a friend's wedding, and I took out my credit card, and I gave her the credit card number and let her book tickets. I thought she was going with her kids.
So that.
Charlie, this doesn't make any sense. I was trying to find something in his testimony that it's like, okay, maybe, but no, none of it makes any sense. If you're being extorted, well, you claim she's not the extortionist, but if she's protecting you from said extortionist, that's your story. Why in the world would you want to offer all of these trips and money? And it's like, I would want you as far away from me as possible. And furthermore, I don't, I've probably said this before, I don't believe that Charlie is someone to get easily extorted, because we see what happens with the bump event. He's calling everyone, he's not paying, he's like, well, he was so resistant to it, so it makes zero sense why you would be extorted for a murder you did not want to happen. You didn't want Dan murdered, right? Supposedly. So why would you pay an extortionist that murdered him? It just doesn't, Charlie, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know what a better defense would have been, because I think there was so much evidence against them. I think they had to go with the extortion. I cannot wait for Donna to see what she tries to throw out there. I I'm gonna guess really quick that she probably already sent the message through Dan, the attorney. She's gonna put it on Charlie because Charlie's already in there, right? So at least if she could get out and say, I had no knowledge of this or anything like that, and put it on Charlie, then maybe she might have a chance of getting out. Although I doubt it, but it's better than this extortion lie. So if as long as she stays far from this extortion lie, because George is gonna eat her up with that. Um, I suspect that's if I could just guess, I don't know, but it's wild stuff.
Yes, you paid
Oh
for
yeah,
the
no, I
trip to
remember
Santo
that well.
Domingo. So
For
go
sure.
quicker if we could just
I'm sorry.
answer the question.
What's the objection?
Argumentative.
Overruled.
Did you offer to buy Katherine Magbanua and her mom a cruise?
Yes, Katie had mentioned to me that she always wanted to be able to take her mom on a cruise. So I offered, but she never took me up on it.
Did you call in prescriptions for Katherine Magbanua?
She was a patient of record in my office.
Did you pay for a meal service for Katherine Magbanua?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pay for car repairs for her?
Yeah, all this stuff was making me think she was broke. So yes, you're right.
Did you offer that she could use your Range Rover anytime?
I said she could borrow the car, sure.
Did she talk about getting a boat and you offered to help her get a boat?
I never offered to help her get a boat. I offered to help her look for a boat.
Did you pay for the breast augmentation?
No,
No part of the breast augmentation.
not at all.
So when she's saying at the same time she's the day of the breast augmentation, can I just put it on the credit card? Is she referring? Can I just put it on your credit card? Is she referring to something else, some other expense?
I have no idea what she's referring to, but I did not pay for her boob job.
What about this birthday gift for Sigfredo Garcia? What was the bonsai tree and the bag? What was that all about?
Oh, she had asked me, and it's on a wire. It's on 420, where she says, "Can you get me some bud from Bud?" My next door neighbor's Bud, and she asked me if I could get some marijuana from my next door neighbor for her. So that's what when I said I have a bonsai tree for you, she asked me, and I got her a little bit of marijuana from my next door neighbor for her.
And you said, I don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best. I did my best.
I was being completely. By the way, I was being completely sarcastic. I never would get Sigfredo Garcia a present in my life.
And you thought you hit it out of the park with the weed and the gift card. Did you say that?
Well, give me a little more context.
The context is you don't know what a married man with kids would want for his birthday, but you did your best and you think you hit it out of the park.
No, I was being completely sarcastic because she had asked me for that marijuana 2 weeks earlier, and I gave it to her. And then I was joking around when I gave it to her. I didn't want him to think that I was hooking up with her. So I started to joke around about it, and then I was like, maybe you can just tell him it was for me because I didn't want him to think that I'm hooking up with Katie, and that's why I gave it to her.
Can we agree in general that it's important to maintain positive feelings between co-conspirators? If you're a co-conspirator with someone in a crime, you want to keep positive relationship with that person. Will you agree with that?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
Okay, I'm saying in general. Can you agree in general that co-conspirators in a crime want to stay friendly with each other?
I'm not a co-conspirator with her.
All right, can't agree to that. If a co-conspirator develops a motive to harm another one, that could be bad, right?
Co-conspirator. Say it again.
Say, a husband and wife do a murder together. And then 10 years later, they've gotten away with it, but 10 years later, they fall out. That could be a problem. Somebody might start talking, right?
I was never part of a murder.
Were these gifts, these things that you provided to Katherine Magbanua and her mother and Sigfredo Garcia payment for the murder?
Okay, I never got Sigfredo a gift in my life. The guy absolutely hates me. He wants to kill me. He stalked me. He extorted me. Like, that was being completely sarcastic, and sometimes I make some bad jokes, but that's, even when I wrote he wanted to take me deep sea fishing, I knew he wanted to kill me. Like, you have that text too. I didn't think we were going deep sea fishing.
On April 6th of 2015, did you receive a text from Katherine Magbanua that reads, "Next time, don't be such a dick to someone who has done something for you"?
Yeah, she's protecting me, and she's mad at me over something.
Are these gifts what it took to
Okay, so in that text, if she's saying she's protecting him, then she would be part of the extortion. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely not. I was never trying to get her silence. I was hoping she'd tell the truth.
Was your dad's birthday in between the two trips that the killers took?
Yeah, my dad's birthday is July 5th.
And what birthday was that for him?
It was his 70th birthday party.
All right, so there's been a lot of talk about the texting between you and your mom about the birthday, and she texts you on March 4th of 2014 and says she can't talk now, but she'll call when she goes to the bathroom in Gainesville and has privacy. She tells you to erase that text after you read it. Why did she have you erase that text?
Okay, if you look at the records, I never erased the text.
Well, why did she ask you? If you know, you may not know.
Maybe she's afraid my dad's looking at her phone and would find out about the president. It made no sense to me. That's why I was like, I didn't erase anything.
How is you erasing the text going to prevent your dad from seeing it on your mom's phone?
Well, if my dad looked at my mom's phone, then he'd see the text and maybe know what she's planning for his birthday.
You weren't with Dad, she was with Dad, just to clarify.
Yeah, she was with my dad.
And the text that she asked you to erase, that particular text didn't say anything about a birthday or paella. Can we agree on that?
No, but I knew what it was about.
All right. 20 minutes later, she texts again and asks something about Dad's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know we were trying to plan a surprise cruise. That was the original idea.
Okay, and the paella is mentioned elsewhere, not in this particular thread that we're talking about now.
Yeah,
Was paella the big birthday gift?
Yeah, I paid for the catering for the whole party.
Okay. Then 3 months later, on June 8th, just after midnight, you text her, quote, still working on Dad's birthday present. Was that in reference to the paella guy?
Possibly what I was also getting was a present. I mean, it's been 10 years, so I don't know exactly what I got him 10 years ago on his birthday.
And then
or
at
what
1
I was thinking about.
a.m., I'm sorry, you weren't done.
No, or what I was thinking about getting him.
And then at 1 a.m., Mom texts you back, I know you'll, and I think she was in Israel, so that might account for the time, but she texts you, quote, I know you'll come through for me. Is that what she said?
That's what the text said, yeah.
Can we agree the timing of these texts is consistent with being sent the day after the killers got home from their failed June murder trip?
No, it's consistent with a few weeks before my dad's birthday and trying to figure out what we're going to get him.
Why didn't you go to Dan's funeral?
In Canada?
I think there were some in Tallahassee.
I love the topic changes, like seamlessly, of asking about the text message, and just why didn't you go to his funeral? Like, that's pretty odd. I'm sorry. Even if I didn't, well, I don't. I don't, well, I won't get into it, but there's some people I don't like that are associated with my family. And if they ended up murdered in some way, would I go to their funeral actually? I don't know. I'm trying to be transparent. I may not go to their funeral, honestly. So, okay. Because I'm putting myself in their shoes. Recently, I did have uh someone who bullied me pretty much my entire elementary school life. Um, recently passed away, and I'm very close with we have mutual friends and all that. I, I mean, I was out of town when the funeral occurred, so but either way, I wouldn't have went to that funeral because I had no good feelings to share, and I feel like if you go to someone's funeral, it's maybe for closure or for, to share good stories. I had zero, absolutely zero good stories to share about that person. So, um, I didn't go, and nor would I have went. So, anyway, okay, fine. I'll let that slide, Charlie. I'll let that one slide. But I do think it's odd to like not show some type of support, even just for Wendi, if she were sad about that. So
And in Canada as well.
I know there was
but did you go to either?
There was a memorial service here.
Did you go to that?
No, I didn't attend. I knew what had happened to him, and there's no way I could have shown up. I would have been too upset.
Mr. Dubin, your lawyer that was here, seems like a long time ago at jury selection, said, people have different ways of grieving and that sort of thing. Were you grieving for the death of Dan Markel?
I felt horrible about what happened, and I knew what happened.
When did you?
I wasn't close to him, but either way, I mean, I felt horrible about what happened.
When did you find out exactly how he was killed? Meaning, like, shot twice in the head.
I found out. It would have been the next morning is how I found out he got shot in the head.
Do you agree that this was a first-degree murder?
Do I agree?
Planned, premeditated?
The people who killed him planned on killing him, yeah.
Do you think everyone involved should be convicted?
I think everyone involved should be convicted.
Even the person that hired the hit?
I think anybody who played a role in it, but I wasn't a part of it.
Do you regret that Dan Markel suffered for 14 hours before he died?
I feel horrible.
He was supposed to die quickly, instantly, right?
Are you asking me?
I am.
No, he wasn't supposed to die at all. This was horrible what happened.
Did it surprise you that the cops were able to identify the Prius?
Did it surprise me?
Yes.
I'm not a cop. I don't know how cops investigate.
Did it surprise you to learn that it's not a requirement of law to put the person at the scene of the crime to be guilty of a crime?
Listen, I'm not a police detective.
Was the police work in this case thorough?
I'm sure the police did the best they could.
Did you think that you had done everything properly such that you could never be detected or caught for this?
I wasn't part of this murder at all.
So when Georgia asks if the police did a thorough investigation, if I'm being wrongly accused of being part of that investigation, I would say no, because they obviously are missing a part of this conspiracy because I'm not involved in it. You know, that would have been a great opportunity for him to, in hindsight's 2020, I know, but that would have been a great opportunity for him to kind of dispel the him being part of it, because it's like, no, I don't think they did a good investigation. But the questions that George is asking are kind of based off of the wiretaps and their conversations, Donna and Charlie's conversations of kind of like bad mouthing the uh the like Tallahassee kind of, police, and just kind of saying like, oh, they have nothing, they won't be able to identify them, they won't be able to identify the car and all that stuff. So that's kind of what she's getting at when she's asking him these questions.
You have it wrong.
Katherine Magbanua said that you think you're untouchable. Is that true, Doctor?
That's not true at all.
Did your parents drop off money to you on the night of the murder?
I never saw my parents there. You could look at our cell phones and you'll find that out, that we never saw each other.
I did look at the cell phones, and what is on there is your mom texts you, quote, outside your house. And
No, I mean, look at the tower information.
I think you testified that that meant she was just passing by on the roadway.
She was approaching the area, yeah, to see if I was home.
All right, and do you know what your response was to her text?
Yeah, like 20 or 30 minutes later, I said 10 minutes.
I'm 10 minutes out, is what you said.
I think I said 10 minutes, but yeah, I'm not home.
Doesn't that indicate you're going to meet them at your house in 10 minutes?
No, I told her to let me know when you're going to be in the area.
Was the money that Katherine Magbanua got damp?
I never gave her any money that was damp. The money I gave her came out of my safe.
Was it damp?
No, I took it out of my safe. I put it on the dresser. She put it in her purse.
Why did Garcia and Rivera, or whoever did it, I guess I should say, why did whoever did it need to kill someone to extort you?
I love this line of questioning. But really quick, the damp money, I may have mentioned this before, but Katherine Magbanua testified that the money was wet when she got it, and it's believed that Donna was scrubbing the money, like washing, literally washing the money. I just think it's so funny, the idea of like washing money to like to like what to rid it of any fingerprints, or I don't know, but I just thought that was hysterical because I could see her being like that anal, like, oh no, we have to wash the money. It's like,
You gotta ask them.
Well, why couldn't they just come put a gun to your head and say, give me all the money in your safe?
Thank God they didn't.
Thank God they didn't?
Thank God they didn't. I would have gotten killed.
If Garcia hated you, why would he drive to Tallahassee twice to kill someone you hated?
It sounds like he was part of the extortion, or Katie put him up to it.
Doesn't blackmail or extortion usually involve the extortionist having some kind of dirt on the victim?
I know how this was done to me. I know I'm just telling you what happened to me. I'm not an expert in it.
If they had come in and threatened to kill you, would you have given them the money in your safe?
If someone came and put a gun to my head, yeah, I would have opened up my safe and I would give them the money.
I still don't get how killing Dan Markel advances the ball for them to extort money out of you. Do you?
Yeah, I have a theory. They could extort me for life, and I don't think they knew exactly how much I had in the safe. She knew I had a lot of money in the safe. But this way I could get extorted for life, and that's what happened. And I was stuck paying $3,000 a month.
But you could have gotten extorted for life just by the threat of death by Latin King, couldn't you, Doctor?
I mean, this was as real of a threat as you get. These guys aren't messing around.
All right, you didn't report this after Garcia was arrested, did you? Did not report this after Garcia's arrest?
No, not at all.
Okay, you did keep paying Katherine Magbanua after Garcia's arrest?
No, I never saw her again.
Did not report this after Magbanua's arrest, correct?
Correct.
Did not testify in either of their trials, correct?
Was never contacted to, but yes.
You were okay with the possibility of them getting away with killing Dan Markel.
I thought the truth was going to come out in 2019.
How, if the witness who knows something doesn't come forward?
Katie knows what happens and knows I was extorted, and her trial was at 19, and I was expecting the truth to come out then. And instead, I found out that she was having this affair with him on me, and she lied, and all this money was going to her.
So if her defense had been, I was an innocent conduit to an extortion, you would have backed her up on that?
If she would have come in and told the truth, and yeah, for sure, you would have heard the same story.
Where is your family located now? You don't have to be specific, but is your mom and dad, are they still in South Florida?
They still live in South Florida.
Okay, what about Wendi and the boys?
My parents live about 35 minutes from my sister, and I used to live about 45 minutes from them.
And are they okay, as far as you know, physically, today, as we sit here?
Yes.
And are you concerned that because you've told now on the Latin Kings that they're going to come kill your whole family?
I mean, I just told you that I knew that, was told then that Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, killed Dan Markel. So, I mean, I do have some concern when I get out.
Right, but even after
me.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I said I do have some concern with Latin Kings now that I've spoken, told what I know.
But what about, I mean, Rivera was already in custody at one point, as well as Garcia and Magbanua. My understanding is your continued fear was due to other Latin Kings, potentially. Is that accurate?
These are highly connected people. Luis Rivera, the head of the Latin Kings, in custody means absolutely nothing. If you think he can't send somebody from the outside, you're wrong.
All right. So my question to you is, did that happen? Because you told yesterday.
Was I killed yesterday when I was in jail? No.
And nobody in your family has been killed so far.
You're talking about in the last 24 hours?
Right.
Not that I know.
Okay. But you're worried about that.
I think now that I've spoken, I do have a concern, yes.
Okay. But not too concerned to remain silent when it's your own butt on the line, right?
I'm here to tell the truth. And yes, do I have a concern now that I told you what happened? Absolutely.
Mom tells you on that first wire call that the bump involves the two of us, referring to yourself and your mom, right?
Yes, that's what she said.
And would you agree, prior to your explanation, that that looks pretty incriminating?
I think if you don't know what happened, you can assume the worst.
Isn't it true that you had to add the bit about confiding your extortion in your mom in order to put that toothpaste back in the tube?
No, that's what happened when I got the checks.
Otherwise, why would you bring your mom into this?
I didn't want to. When I first told her on the phone and asked her to write the checks, I said just it's a long story, I'd brush it off, and she didn't press anything, but I think she was out somewhere. It wasn't until when I picked up the checks that she started pressuring me and saying, this makes no sense, why are you doing this, you're not dating Katie, and that's when she found out.
But your mom is the most high-strung out of the whole group, right? And she's old, and she worries, right?
I don't think she's super high-strung, but she does worry about her kids.
You don't?
No. You've never met her.
Well, you said she was, quote, notorious for making a big deal out of everything.
I mean, she overreacts, but she's a mom. I think a lot of moms overreact.
Okay. You could have told her, you know, Katie's down on her luck, and I'm just going to be putting her on the payroll. I mean, you were making enough money, you could tell her to just write checks, couldn't you? Why'd you have to tell her it was an extortion from Latin King gang members?
Well, okay, at that time I didn't know anything about the Latin Kings. But when I told her what happened, I was thinking that, you know what, it actually would be good if someone knows what happened in case I get killed, they at least know what direction to start looking in. So until that point, nobody even knew. So when she started...
Charlie, why wouldn't you just go to the police, though? It just doesn't make any sense. You're doing all these steps and layers so you don't get killed, so your family doesn't get hurt by the Latin Kings or by whomever you suspect is behind this. But you just don't go to the police? Like, if you had nothing to do with it, why would you not just go to the police? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't.
Questioning me. I just said, you know what, I'm going to tell you, but don't say a thing to Dad. Don't say a thing to Wendi. You got to promise me. I didn't want her to ever talk about this again. And that was the day that she found out. It was when I got the checks.
What she doesn't say on the wire is, it's happening again. I was approached by another extortionist today. Does she say that?
No, she's talking very carefully.
And you say carefully, but isn't carefully the same thing as code?
No, they're two totally separate things. You know the difference?
You weren't really giving her money for a TV, were you?
Giving her money for TV.
This TV is probably going to be about $5.
Okay.
I need you to bring cash tonight.
I wish she picked another object on planet Earth other than TV.
Yeah, TV was their word for I guess paying, right? Like because this TV's about 5, you have to pay 5,000 for this payment, for and there's no reason to talk like that unless you're part of it, right? Because I would blatantly come out. This man approached me saying something about a Latin king or saying something about Lewis, and we're taking care of Katie and we're doing this. What are they talking about, Charlie? Like, there's no reason for the mom to have talked in this code or carefully unless she was involved in it. There's no reason. And when her trial comes up, I'm really curious to find out how because like I said earlier, if she puts this all on Charlie, okay, but why are you talking in this code then? You must know something. And I know Georgia's gonna bring it out. And just a while ago, Charlie goes, "Oh, well, you haven't met her." And I just thought to myself, well, she has now, and she's about to take her down. So, mm-mm-mm. Charlie,
But TV is code for absolutely nothing. There is no code in this case involving TV, and you keep circling and circling and circling TV, you're wrong.
Is it a coincidence that the repair of the TV that you bought Wendi as a divorce gift because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman is your sister's alibi for the murder, and then your mom brings up TV first call on the wire?
It's not an alibi for a murder. She had a broken TV. You got to ask Lincoln who threw the remote at the TV.
Was it a coincidence? Is the TV thing a coincidence? That's what I hear you say.
Oh, that the repairman was there that day?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is a coincidence for sure. There's a
And
couple
all
of coincidences in this case.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
I said there's a couple of coincidences in this case. I mean, she had people send her an email to go buy a bottle of Bullet Bourbon for their stock the bar party, and she was driving to a liquor store to buy a bottle of Bullet Bourbon on that day, at that time, and her friend sent the email, and you have the email and evidence. Like, is that a coincidence? Yeah, coincidences happen.
And that you might not be the right Katie talk. That doesn't seem to really fit with your theory of the case, does it? What was your explanation for that? Why you kept saying you might not be the right Katie? I mean, she's definitely the right Katie, right?
Absolutely. She knew it was. I was implying it was her. I was just trying to say, I'm not setting you up, but I need your help.
On call B, you call your mom back, and you say, probe her a little bit, and ultimately you say, you think someone's trying to blackmail you? That's crazy. Why does it sound like this is something that's new and unfathomable to you at that moment?
Well, because I wasn't even following what my mom was talking about on the first call. And on the second call, when she shocked me when she said that. And I'd been extorted before. And her saying to bring cash, everything just didn't sound right.
Could we play?
they're gonna play one of the clips. But why would it sound crazy to you? If you were just extorted, it would be like, oh my gosh, yes, oh my gosh, this just happened to me. Even if you didn't tell your mom, you would say, I have something to tell you. They've been extorting me too. That's not what he did at all. Instead, he tried to go on a little mission to try to find out who was behind this.
4, please. This is from Dolce.
What, sorry, from what?
Clip 4 from Dolce.
Okay.
Even if they had any evidence, it's the first words out of your mouth on this clip. Even if they had any evidence. No. Strike. The quote is, if you say, if they had any evidence, we'd have already gone to the airport. And I know you already testified about this, but does an innocent person say, if they had any evidence?
Right. Katie's saying it's the police, and I'm saying that we're innocent. They're not going to have any evidence to show we were part of something that we were part of. If we had any part of this, we'd be going to the airport right now. And I
Isn't
still say
it
the
true,
same thing.
doctor, that they're not going to have any evidence because you were careful?
No, because we weren't a part of this.
You were smart.
No, we weren't a part of this.
You walled yourself off
I
from
was
the
sure
killers.
they're not going to have evidence to show I did something I didn't do, so we're not running to the airport.
And you're untouchable, right?
No, we didn't do a murder. I wasn't part of a murder. There's no reason to run to the airport.
In the next clip, you're discussing what's going to happen if this person that did the bump goes to the police. And you're going through all these scenarios, these possibilities.
Wait, if he goes to the police?
Yeah, the blackmailer goes to the police. They're going to say, where's the weapon? And he's not going to know. He's just going to have hearsay, basically. Someone told me they did it. It's not going to be enough to get the investigation anywhere. Why are you thinking through the possibility of the blackmailer going to the cops if the blackmailer doesn't have any dirt on you to take to the cops?
I wasn't thinking about the blackmailer. What I was trying to say is I don't know anything about Sigfredo. I don't know anything about this crime. I was trying to tell her that I'm harmless. I don't have any knowledge of what went on. Like, the last thing I wanted is that now that she's saying it's the police, is someone to come and kill me and think I'm some kind of loose end. So that's why I'm saying that.
But that's not what you're saying. You're saying if this is a person that Luis Rivera ran his mouth to, and they go to the police, it's going to be worth zero. Because they're not going to know anything other than, hey, my brother told me this.
I don't know if I was saying with someone who knows Luis Rivera. I was trying to make a point that I don't know anything.
And then you suggest what they would have to do is get him to wear a wire and get the person to confess, and that's probably what this could be, an effort to do, right?
Well, they're thinking that we were part of a murder. So this was the same thing I said before, is that this is their theory. So this is a police tactic, and it could be either a bad guy or the police, and this is how they're pursuing it.
Exactly. So as long as you keep your mouth shut, you can get away with murder, right?
No, not at all.
Isn't that
We
what you
didn't- we
told
didn't do a
Ryan
murder.
Fitzpatrick?
No, Ryan Fitzpatrick is someone who stole over $500,000 from me.
That's not my question, sir.
Sorry.
Did you say that to Ryan
No,
Fitzpatrick?
never. Never at all.
Why do you go into so much detail about rental car examples? Let's strike that. Can you agree that the Prius, you knew that the police were looking for a Prius at the time you met at this Dolce Vita restaurant?
I think it had been released at that time.
All right, and you heard the recording. You're arguing. Let's play the clip. This is going to be clip. I think let's play 7 and 8, please. Dolce. Sounds like you're saying even if they track down the Prius, even if there's DNA or fingerprints in the Prius, meaning like they can link someone to the Prius, that's not going to be enough evidence to make any arrests in this case. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all. What I'm doing is I'm restating.
You've answered my question.
Can I give you an
On redirect, you'll have an opportunity.
Well,
My question was.
One moment.
My question
We're not
was-
just wildly arguing. Mr. Adelson, please answer the question.
Okay.
I can just ask you a yes or no question.
Please allow me
and
to answer your question.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Help yourself out.
What I was saying to Katie is that the information she had just told me in the car about Sigfredo not being there when the crime was committed, she told me that Sigfredo was high on drugs at the hotel and that Luis had rented a car and that he's the one who killed Dan. And I'm restating to her that I don't have any knowledge of what went on, and that all I know is that Sigfredo wasn't even there when this happened. So that's what I'm restating to her.
That Sigfredo can't be caught even if he's connected to the crime, to the car?
I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed Dan.
Okay. Wouldn't it be good for you? Because you know now that Sigfredo is the extortionist, right? She just told you that in the car?
Sigfredo, yeah.
Okay. And wouldn't it be good for you if the police investigation into the Prius led to the arrest of the killers/extortionists?
If they arrested the people that killed Dan,
Yeah.
I know the extortion would stop. As long as I kept my mouth shut, I'd be safe.
Right. So why are you trying to argue to her that, like, the car is not going to lead anywhere?
Yeah, Georgia brings up an excellent point. Exactly. Wouldn't you want them to be arrested and apprehended? So if you're being extorted, so you're no longer extorted, number one, but two, the murderers of your sister's ex-husband and your nephew's father are caught. I mean, you can clearly hear, it's a little bit hard to hear the Dolce recordings, but you can hear him just trying to soothe Katie's mind in the sense like, oh, you have nothing to worry about kind of thing, which is an odd place to be when you're supposedly being extorted or you're being protected by Katie in some way. It just doesn't make any sense.
You're not going to be able to do anything with the car.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I know that Sigfredo wasn't the one who killed him.
Did you say on this recording, if they're a bad guy, there's two ways of dealing with it? Go ahead and contact the police. They'll contact him, the blackmailer, and arrange a setup. Take him down, and he'll proffer 10 years, and now tell us everything you know, or else you're going to serve 10 years in prison. Next thing you know, this person is singing. He's calling out your name. My parents are going to have to tell the story of what happened. Singing about what? About the extortion?
No, I think you're reading it wrong. I know the audible is bad.
What would
Are those the words?
Yes, sir. What would the extortionist, and now I'm referring to the one that contacted your mother.
The Latin King extortion.
Well, they're both Latin kings, right?
The second extortion.
What would they have to sing about?
The second extortion would be singing and talking about the first extortion, where they learned their information from.
Who cares? That doesn't have anything to do with you.
Well, when they catch the first extortion, Katie's tied to them and I'm tied to Katie. They're going to come talk to us, and we're going to be in danger when we tell them what happened. So I was saying if they catch the second, they're going to turn in on the first, and that's the same thing I said yesterday.
You gave very precise instructions to Katherine Magbanua on what she was to say when she calls the phone number, right?
Yeah,
Did you do that?
Absolutely.
And then you say, quote, you'd better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. And he knows who you are. If he can't do it, I'll have someone else do it. Aren't you telling her that if Garcia can't handle this problem and kill whoever's behind this, you will have someone else do it?
You're reading it totally wrong.
It's a yes or no question, sir.
No, you're wrong.
When Dan Markel's murder was taking too long to happen, didn't you tell Katherine Magbanua that if she couldn't get it done, you would find someone else to do it?
No, I've never said that either.
And then you say in the recording, I'm back to Dolce now, yeah, and guess what? When the effing police show up and there's an oral surgeon standing there with a dead gang member in his effing driveway, they're not going to come down too hard on me. So you knew you'd be...
The level of arrogance in that comment, I fully believe he made that comment because I could see him. He thought of himself very highly, and he thought the fact that he was a dentist and he was a doctor. I know dentists are doctors, but I think that's pushing it. That he would be more respected, which typically a doctor would be more respected than, a gang member. That he can just spin whatever story he wants to spin, but there's evidence, Charlie. There's evidence, so it doesn't always work that way.
Believed if he went to the police, right?
I didn't know I'd be believed, but I fear for my life.
And then you say, so help me God, if they fuck with my family, it's going to be fucking Nazi shit. Because this will be done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Katie, I don't care what I spend, okay? I swear to God. What is Nazi shit?
That's an expression that Katie would use to describe someone that's going crazy. I think the Nazis were absolutely crazy people. So I'm saying I'm going to get somebody to go crazy on the guy that's trying to extort my mom for money. I'll pay someone to go threaten him and to scare him. I was not talking about killing anybody.
Well, you say the word kill. Yes?
No. Oh, when you're putting the words in my mouth, we can do that sentence.
Do you?
She did not put not one word in your mouth, sir. She read what you said verbatim. You said it's going to be some Nazi stuff. You said that. And she just repeated that. And you're talking about defending your family and the lengths you would go to defend your family. It sounded like you would do a little murder again if you need to. Okay? You don't care how much you have to spend because you've done this before. It's all clear and evident right there, Charlie.
Say the word kill.
I'm talking about if Sigfredo's coming after you, he's such a dangerous guy, you'd have to kill him to stop him. That's the only thing you could do. Not talking about killing the extorter. I'm talking second extortion.
Okay.
I'm saying that if Sigfredo's coming after you, the only thing that you could do is you'd have to kill him to stop him. I'm not talking about killing anybody. I'm talking about that's the only way that you could stop Sigfredo from coming after you is you would have to kill him. And that's exactly what I said there. You're wrong. That's exactly what I said.
All right, thank you. Nazis kill, right? Isn't that like their primary objective?
No, I think Nazis are insane, crazy people.
That exterminate, right?
That kill, yes, but they're crazy. That was an expression she.
Gotcha. You said kill. She just asked you that question. And she said Nazis kill, right? Well, I think Nazis are crazy people. And that exterminate, right? That kill, yes. See, gotcha.
Would use, and that's when I used it to her, but basically saying I'm going to have someone go crazy on this guy. I could have used the word crazy. I thought it was interchangeable.
Isn't what you're doing here in this portion of the tape feeling her out to make sure Garcia doesn't have any bad feelings toward you?
When I said it, yeah, I thought he could have been behind the second extortion. I think I've said that before.
And you go into like how your relationships didn't overlap, you never disrespected him, and you mentioned that you don't think that they, I assume you mean these other people, associates that have contacted your mom, would want to mess with his connections, right? Remember?
Look, you're talking about the copycat extortion.
Right. And then you ask if he's too far removed, or can he still make a call? Are you referring to Garcia in that?
Yeah, exactly.
So can Garcia make a call to try to figure out who this is?
Garcia helped stop the second extortion. Someone's doing a piggyback extortion on the first. That's exactly what I said.
On the topic of conversation for Katherine Magbanua, don't you say, I look for things to do, I show you, that's the difference. You don't ask me for shit. You said all those things, right?
Absolutely, because that's proving what I've been saying all along is that I didn't think she was part of this, so I was doing things to keep her happy from time to time. Ethan's birthday I brought up there. I gave her $300. I helped her out with the car when her car was broken, for sure.
And then you say, listen, you giving somebody money is not an admission of any kind of guilt. Would paying the money have made her look guilty?
That's what she was saying to me. She said it's the police. You can't pay the police. They're going to think you were part of a murder and they're going to arrest you.
But if it was an extortionist, it could have created a monster, right?
And if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed.
So when
or
these
you could keep getting
guys...
extorted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said if you don't pay the extortionist, you could get killed, or you could keep getting extorted.
But your main concern was that if we pay, this guy will think I'm an ATM machine, right? He'll keep coming back again and again and again. Don't you articulate that to Katherine Magbanua?
If it was an extorter, that was one of the concerns. And the other concern was not paying him and getting killed.
But what you say is, well, I don't remember the quote exactly. The main concern, what I'm most worried about, is that they're going to keep coming back for more, right?
I don't remember using the word the main concern.
But what you don't say in here is like what you or your homies have been doing to me for 2 years.
Of course not. I don't want her to think I'm setting her up.
Why are you explaining extortion and how extortion works to Katherine Magbanua?
In there?
Yeah.
Because I know.
But she knows too, doesn't she?
So I repeat myself. I do that.
You also explain it to your mother, how extortion works, and she's has known about it for 2 years too, right?
From what I told her, yeah. I'm reminding her.
Then you say, if someone's messing with you, they're messing with me. And if someone's messing with me, they're messing with you. It's one and the same, right?
Yes, I said that.
You're in this together, right?
We're both innocent.
You were very obviously relieved on the wire when you came to the conclusion that this was law enforcement. Would you agree with that?
Very relieved, yeah.
All right. And at that same time that on the wire you're expressing relief, or I should say, shortly after all the relief expressed on the wire, we've got the arrest of Katherine Magbanua, right?
No.
No. Okay. Would you agree that it goes relief on the wire, then arrest of Katherine Magbanua?
Do you want to give me dates? Because Kathy was arrested 6 months later.
Okay.
The wire
Can we
was in
agree
April.
that
She was
you were
arrested in
very
October.
relieved on the wire, and that 6 months later, Katherine Magbanua was arrested?
She was arrested 6 months later, correct?
And 6 months later, after you were completely relieved on the wire, you begin to exhibit these extreme behavior changes that we've heard about. And what is your explanation for that?
Because I thought I'd be falsely arrested.
Did you encourage Katherine Magbanua to reconcile with Garcia? That's a yes or no.
Yes, for sure I did.
Was that a good decision for her or a good decision for you?
Neither.
You've heard your lawyer say that you talk a lot. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I did.
And you talk a lot on the wire, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree you're not a direct person?
My direct person?
There's a lot of circular talking on the wire.
I mean, however you want to describe my mannerisms of talking, you're welcome to describe them.
I'll do that in closing. What I'm asking is, do you agree that
mean-
you are like that?
I think at times I'm direct, for sure.
Do you have a way of saying things without really saying it?
No, I think I'm pretty direct with things.
Do you think you can talk your way out of this?
No, I don't. I'm not part of a murder
Who are they going to believe, right? An oral surgeon or a gangster?
that's extorting me in my driveway and coming and threatening me.
You're untouchable, right?
No, I'm not part of this murder. Yeah,
There was a
well,
lot of talk about going to the police on the wire, which I think we've well established did not happen. But you've always gone to the police before, right?
I've had other things that have gone to the police for, yeah.
You've gone to the police in reference to something to do with your child's mother? Yes or no?
Yes.
You've gone to the police when you were threatened to be blackmailed over something with a woman back in 2015. Remember that?
No, I didn't go to the police.
Did you send a letter from your lawyer indicating that describing her actions as an attempted shakedown and indicating that not only will Dr. Adelson never pay a settlement, he will undoubtedly prevail and seek attorney's fees against your client?
Right, that's a civil complaint, and somebody was making an unfounded civil complaint and threatening filing a lawsuit, and an attorney handled the civil complaint. The police were never notified. But it was a civil suit.
It was somebody trying to shake you down for money.
It was a unfounded claim from a civil suit to me and another dentist that it was involving.
It was a claim that potentially had criminal implications as well, wasn't it, Doctor?
For me?
Yes.
No. There was never a police investigation with that.
In 2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
I had a reporter almost kill my 10-week-old puppy dog that I was walking because I was going for a walk in the morning and he was stalking outside my house.
In 2018, did you report an aggravated assault where a vehicle was driving aggressively and narrowly avoided striking you?
He was more almost hit my dog too, but yeah.
Do your nephews deserve to know the whole truth about who killed their father?
Yeah, now they do.
Do Danny's parents deserve to know what happened to their son?
Absolutely.
And you say you knew. I mean, you now say you knew a big piece of what happened, right?
Yes.
Do you feel bad about not volunteering that to Danny's parents?
I feel a sense of relief that now I was able to tell everybody what finally happened.
Yesterday, almost 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
And that's because you didn't just know a big piece of it. You were a big piece of it, weren't you, Doctor?
I was extorted and I knew a lot, yeah.
One moment, please, Your Honor.
Excellent, excellent, excellent cross-examination. It doesn't, that is a master class in a cross. It does not get any better than that. I would say the TELUS cross-examination is pretty good too, but the case is very different, the evidence is very different, and the way Georgia lays everything out, gets them on point by point by point, is very impressive. And the fact that Charlie said he didn't want to go to the funeral because he would have been too upset because he knew what happened to him. And then sitting there saying, yeah, well, I didn't tell, because I wanted to protect my family and yada, yada, yada. It's like you knew back then what happened. And even if you were an innocent party in it, why wouldn't you tell to help investigate his murder and put this all to bed? Because if the criminals are in prison, the odds of them coming for you are slim to none when they did this murder of their own volition, right? Like, none of it makes any sense. We know it doesn't make any sense, but that's Charlie Adelson for you. And we should soon be expecting Donna Adelson to go through this process as well. And I can't wait for it. So I will be keeping my eyes peeled for that. We're going to get into some other cases and stuff upcoming. Thank you guys for joining and watching with me. This is definitely one of my most favorite cross examinations. I watch it, as I said before, to put myself to sleep because it's one of those where it's like I can just rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. It's like a comfort watch, if you will. Um, just to watch Charlie squirm. But thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.